What's going on, y'all? So this is a tale as old as time. Literally as old as time, according to some. This is the idea of archetypes that play out in our everyday lives, and that's what we should aspire to be. If you look at Digital Extremes and not only their journey into creating Warframe, but the journey that you take inside of Warframe, so the story of the game parallels the exact same story Digital Extremes went through. And I find that to be extremely interesting. So Carl Jung was a psychologist in the 20th century, total genius, born in the 19th, died in the 20th century, but he invented analytical psychology. It was a new branch of psychology, and he did a whole bunch of other cool stuff. He has tons of writings. If you want to listen to some of his lectures on YouTube, they are available. Obviously, he's not the one reading them, but other people are reading his essays, so on and so forth. This guy had this idea of archetypes, and archetypes were inherited potential which were actualized when they entered the consciousness. This could be done, manifested through images or behavior on interaction with the outside world. So what I mean by behavior on interaction with the outside world is whenever you do something, you're acting this out in the real world. And that's what we see with Digital Extremes. They're actually acting out in real life the motifs from these ancient stories. And if you can think of them as psychological stories or philosophical ways of living, if you view it that way, it makes a little bit more sense. So Carl Jung essentially said there's something called the collective unconsciousness. Not like we're connected through, crazy telepathy or something, but that we evolved with these systems. These systems, like that's why so many people feel like there's a God or there's something bigger than themselves. That is the pinnacle. That is the top of the hierarchy. That is why on the Washington Monument, at the very tip of that pyramid, it is Captain Aluminum, which was the most valuable metal at the time, because it shows that even at the top of the hierarchy, there is something greater than the hierarchy itself. So even if you go to the top of the hierarchy in society, you're the president, you're whatever, there is still something above you to strive for. It doesn't necessarily mean there is, it's saying that there is a God that you have to strive for, but God is the metaphysical representation of the greatest thing that you could be, if that makes sense at all. So this kind of has to do with something like instinct. It's the sister to instinct. When your sister jumps out of the closet and scares you, you don't think, okay, let me crouch down, cover my vital organs, let me go ahead and scream like a girl, and then let me poop in my pants so everyone can laugh at me. You don't think about any of that. You just poop in your pants and scream like a girl and fall on the floor. Now, back in the day, some people don't understand why we would have these instincts, but back in the day, you're going through some tall grass with your spear and your slingshot. A giant saber-tooth jumps out. You better cover your neck. You need enough time, you need to scream, and maybe the poop, maybe he won't eat your butt first. I don't know. But you need to scream to bring others over to help you because the world's full of predators. There are snakes in the grass, okay? You got to be careful. So this idea of archetypes is the same thing. They're motifs that we live out in our real life, and we admire people who live out the archetypal hero in real life, and we don't even understand why. We read the stories, we understand what's happening on some level, we just relate to it. And he believed this because these evolved with us archetypally. And I think, he's onto something here. There is a connection. Every society has a flood story. They all have the same hero journeying into the unknown to kill the dragon or kill the monster. They journey into the unknown, encounter chaos, they slay it, and they get something back that helps them, their family, and others. So with Digital Extremes, they are the hero, okay? They journey into the unknown. They encounter the dragon of chaos. And when they encounter the dragon of chaos, they do it voluntarily. The dragon didn't come knocking on their door. They went to seek out the dragon. They went to find chaos itself and to bring order into chaos. They do this, they kill the dragon, and because they do this, they are able to go save the princess in the top tower, or whatever it may be, whatever story it is you're thinking of. They're all exactly the same as far as their psychological significance. Now, there are a few differences when it comes to the expression by the individual or culture. Obviously, that's just how it would be. But if you look at Digital Extremes, they moved out. They were sitting there thinking, we have this idea. We have a dream, if you will. And to see your dream fulfilled, idea, shoot for the moon, you'll end up among the stars even if you suck, something like that. That's what they were doing. They had an idea, a cool sci-fi shooter. They were going to make this happen. So they have to leave the comfort of the known, which is their little area where they were making cool stuff like Unreal Tournament and other cool stuff. They were working with the company who made Fortnite. Those two guys were working together. Interesting how, things have played out for them. Anyways, so they say, we have to do this. They decide to make something new. They are moving into unknown territory, which means it's full of potential, both for, malevolence and for good. They have all these obstacles, which are these publishers who don't want that game. They want a game like Call of Duty. So they have the choice to bow to the tyrannical ruler or the tyrannical side of society or whatever the motif is that each one of these guys represent. And I think it's more the tyrannical side, that which would crush you, step on your dreams, so on and so forth. They have a choice there, but instead they stand up to the dragon, and they slay the dragon. They publish the game themselves. This is one of the huge obstacles that rises up in front of them, is they have no publisher. This is chaos. They have encountered chaos in the unknown, and they could either, let chaos swallow them whole, because you have the potential to be eaten by a dragon. So don't be confused and think you can just go, fight all the dragons and you'll be fine. Very likely you get eaten. But also, the only chance you have of getting to your goal is by facing it voluntarily. This is the hero motif. They kill the dragon. The princess, of course, is this dream of theirs. It doesn't really mean you get to go fight monsters and take women home with you. That would be ridiculous. Damn, that hit my hand so hard. So they get their dream. They slay the dragon. They bring order into chaos, and now they have succeeded. And we have the game. And in the game, we see this exact same motif. We have the player who is a Tenno, and he has to journey into the unknown. And it's a great parallel for the unknown, because it's space. It is literally the unknown. And you have to encounter these monsters. And they actually made the monsters more subtly, psychologically realistic in the sense that they're human-like. They're not like alien races. These are the snakes that live in humans. So this is like the Garden of Eden type of story, There's not just snakes in the grass, there's snakes in all of us. And Jordan Peterson has a lot of good teachings on this idea of snakes and the biblical significance, the psychological significance of the biblical stories. So there's the true snakes, the ones that are most dangerous, aren't just the snakes in the grass, they're the snakes in us. And the snakes in you in particular. So your own personal snakes. And this is something the Tenno kind of have to wrestle with throughout this idea of the game. But anyways, that's what they're doing. They are doing the exact same thing DE had to do. They are having to choose to go into the unknown, conquer it, conquer chaos. And out of that, they gain something, each time. In this case, resources or, an alliance or whatever it may be on your particular mission in the game. I find that to be so intriguing because if you look at how people treat DE, they receive a hero's welcome. These people are unlike any other developer, okay? They are celebrities. How many Fortnite developers does anyone know? 0. Okay, well maybe they do, I don't know. But it's not the same. There is a relationship with them. These are the people who went into chaos and they came out on top with the dragon's head in their hand. People view them that way, and it's either side, because you have a split community in Warframe who want different things all the time, but they both agree on one thing, that Digital Extremes is the hero. Now, some people think, because you're the hero, they should get a pass on everything, and other people say, yeah, you're the hero, but you gotta keep being benevolent. You can't just, slack off on your duties. You're Hercules, but we're not gonna just feed you grapes, you still gotta do stuff. There's two kind of sides to that coin, but either way, the entire community views them as the hero who went and conquered the unknown, brought order into chaos. And I think that is really amazing because this is a real life example of how you can see someone living out the archetype from a biblical story, from a medieval myth, from an old, what do you call a child's tale, or not old wives' tale, I can't remember, a nursery rhyme. All of these stories that have the same archetypes built into them somehow, either through our collective unconscious or, something we evolved with over the years. It doesn't really matter. The point is they are still definitely there. And this is a great example of how we really do cheer for the hero who lives out the correct version of the hero. So had DE just went and like screwed over 50 other, innocent little small companies who were trying to help them out in order to make this game, they would not be the hero, even if the game was the same type of game it is now. They did things the right way, and they brought order into chaos without stepping on the heads of a whole bunch of innocent civilians who are just out there in the way. Anyways, guys, so that is my, I guess, breakdown of how I view kind of the journey of Digital Extremes, its parallels to the game itself. Obviously, there's a million different levels of analysis you could look at this from. You could attack this from literally probably any way possible. I was thinking about doing a biology comparison here, but I was like, yeah, that's not as interesting. And plus, Carl Jung is just, he's so brilliant that, I had to do a video where I use some of his ideas of the archetypes. Anyways, guys, that is all for me. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be back with another video. I am trying to do a video on the Warframe community, on just the different personality types in there, because it's pretty funny, some of these dudes, dude. I just spent a few hours on the forums and I was like, oh my god, like, what is happening here? Are these people serious? Like, it's pretty funny. Anyways, guys, sorry, that's my third. I gotta go. I'll be back. Peace.